Hey everyone, it's Trainer Troy here with another episode of Tech Talk Live. All right, this is great. I've given Bo the night off. I'm not sure if anybody's hopped on yet. Oh, there we go. We got everybody hopping in now. So, hey everyone. So I have given Bo the night off. He's been working real hard, and all I've been doing is sitting around, drinking beer, and eating some ice cream. So, hey, I'll pull my weight tonight, and I'll do the show. But I'm not alone. I actually have a really great guest host. I'm going to have him joining here shortly. Jonathan's going to be joining us tonight. Hey, Dave. Hey, Adam. Hey, what's going on, Becca? All right, let's see if I can figure this out. Usually go live with... Ooh, look at that, man. Technology. I'm not just a good plumber. I can figure this out, too. Let's see. I don't see Jonathan on here yet. So I have Jonathan Cheever joining me this evening. He's a licensed plumber and an Olympic snowboarder. He's a Viega-sponsored snowboarder. So let's see when he joins in tonight. We're going to be talking about plumbing. We're going to be talking how he came into the trades and how he became a snowboarder as well. We're going to be talking about trade schools and press technology and things that he's getting into now that he's out there in Utah. So when I see him pop up, I'll be having him join in here momentarily. And let's see. Hey, Plumber Sal, what's up, buddy? Let's see. Nice. What's up, Haney? World Plumbers, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining. This is awesome. Team Cheever, here we go. He's on. Let me get him in here. All right. World Plumbers, Preston of the Trades is with us. Send a request. Let's see if it works. If he's here, waiting for team. Here we go. Connecting. What's up, All Star Plumbing Inc.? Hills Country Plumbing, how we doing?
Hey, do I got you?
Yeah, there you go. Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. Just getting in a comfortable spot to do the tech talk, actually.
Nice. I'm going to pick my camera up a little bit here, so I'm chopping off my head.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, welcome, man. How's things? You out there snowboarding right now?
No, it's about 60 degrees during the day in Park City, and at night, occasionally we're getting a few flakes, but I probably won't be on snow till November sometime.
I was wondering, you're out there, it looks like you're all bundled up. I see that nice Viega hoodie, so I didn't know if you were just practicing on the rough grass or something like that. I just figured you were too eager and couldn't wait.
I don't want to say those days are long gone because I still want to sometimes snowboard during the off season, but I would chase the endless winter for maybe the first 10 years of my career, and now I'm enjoying the summer and the fall in Park City. It gets to be pretty beautiful here. A lot of mountain biking, rock climbing, a lot of outdoor stuff.
Nice. Well, for those of you, I'm sure most of the people on here watched the video, saw who you are, but I want to give you an opportunity. Just, introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, because, to me, that's really cool that you're from, the same area that I'm located in. So I thought that was pretty cool that you're a New England boy. But go ahead and introduce yourself, Jonathan.
So all the viewers out there, I am Jonathan Cheever, master plumber, general contractor, originally from Saugus, Massachusetts, which is just north of Boston. And I've been kind of living a bit of a vagabond snowboarder lifestyle for my whole adult life, and had some life changes happen around Christmas. So I relocated to Park City, Utah, and I've been a licensed journeyman since 2006, and that has been able to more or less support my snowboard lifestyle. It's great, just kind of using the plumbing work to chase my dream of snowboarding, and full circle. Now my dream is to open a design build kitchen and bathroom remodeling studio in Park City, and I'm pursuing that right now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool, man. And how did, so I'm dying to know. This is one thing that I was excited about to hear. I came up in the trades as well, did an apprenticeship. I'm a licensed master plumber, Gasper, all that stuff. And I got to tell you, I don't feel like I would have the time to chase a snowboarder dream as well. Like you said, you've been traveling around, vagabond, but so what was it like? Like, how did you start getting into the trades first and then decide that you want to chase the snowboarding dream?
That's a good question. So digging in the memory bank here. I went to school at Malden Catholic High School in Malden, Massachusetts, and it was a private Catholic school college prep. During my senior year of high school, I enrolled at Northeast Vocational Tech, and after my extracurriculars or doing my homework or whatever I was doing in high school, I would head to night school 2 days a week to start getting the hours to get my journeyman plumber's license. And I mean, I could spell out the details of the timeline. I just suppose it's not that interesting. The way, especially in my younger years, I would approach everything is almost with this lifestyle or a mindset, I guess is a better way of putting. Sometimes I approach it in plumbing, especially service work. I'm sure some of the service guys know this. If you can't make it, you make it. And that's kind of what I did with snowboarding and plumbing. I had these dreams of getting my plumber's license and going to college and becoming an engineer, mechanical engineer, getting my degree in that. Realizing pretty quickly that engineering is a full balls to the wall major. I was an okay student, but maybe not the best. I was still making more money as a teenager plumbing, and I was like, you know what, maybe plumbing's for me. And in the meantime, I'd save up money pulling wrenches. Now we press, don't pull wrenches too much anymore. And then I would maybe head down to New Zealand for a few weeks in the summer and snowboard, win some events, chase that. When I got back home, I would do some plumbing again, and just kind of that started my snowboard career. And one of my first industry sponsors in my snowboard career was Bradford White Water Heaters. They've been a great supporter, and I don't know, sometimes pro snowboarding is exactly what you want to picture it, and other times you're one could be scraping bottom or injured or use your imagination. And then I kind of always had this trade to fall back on, though, if financially snowboarding wasn't doing well, or just trying to move the chains forward in life in general. Plumbing has always been that red thread that connected everything.
No, and that's, and I hope there's some apprentices on here, or some gentlemen who are maybe some instructors at trade schools, and some tradeswomen on here that are working with getting some, girls in trade. Because right there, that's so cool to hear, because, I had that stigma when I was a kid, actually. I mean, I came from a blue collar family, hard workers, my dad farming, logging, my mom a housekeeper. And I still had that stigma in my head that plumbing was just dirty, bottom barrel, who wants to be a plumber, right? And I had that stigma, but, hearing you talk about it, I wish more kids would get into it sooner like you did. It took me a bit, I got into it roughly probably around when you did. I got back, 2004, 2005, but I just kind of fell into it. But if people could understand that, you hit the nail on the head when you said that you have something to fall back on. It's a ticket. Yeah. It's a trade. It's a skill. You could make the money, pay the bills, maybe eat some grub, put some food in your belly, a roof over your head, while you're chasing your dream as being a snowboarder. And that's really cool to hear, and I know you do some speaking with trade school, events. How's, you still doing stuff like that? And how's that going?
I guess it kind of got put on hold with the pandemic, and Viega is currently my best supporter for my snowboard career, and makes my life a lot easier plumbing, pressing rather than turning wrenches. But when I was working with Bradford White in the past, or even the PHCC, I was speaking to a couple of vocational schools, and I did some work with American Standard, and we talked to Clark County schools out in Nevada. And basically the message that I'm trying to convey here is, college is great. People could go to college. Maybe that's their ticket. But plumbing, yeah, sure, it could be a backup plan, but to be honest, it's great as a plan A. Speaking to some of these schools, especially when I talk to some of the younger kids in, first grade, second grade, their parents are there. And you hear some parents say, wait a minute, this actually sounds like a nice technical trade that's rewarding. I get to see the work that I do, and it pays very well. And not only that, it is very tough to find good contractors out there. Every 5 plumbers leaving the trade, there's only 1 getting back into it. And I'm just trying to pass this message along and let people know that this is a great way of making a living.
And I think a lot of maybe parents out there. We got a great
Yeah.
question from actually Preston to the
Yeah.
Trades, which is actually
Yeah.
Viga's kind of trade school initiative along with our V10 program.
Yeah.
But Erica's asking, what advice do you have for students who and parents who have no idea what to do instead of going to college and spending so much money and getting into debt and things like that?
It's especially getting into the trades, I guess is one way to put it. Me and every other contractor I know, whether it is plumbing or a different trade, is looking for help. And normally the job requirements I see is someone checks if the guy has a pulse. If you are a hard worker and even medium, like a medium level want to do something, like go to your local supply store and see, hey, are there any plumbers looking for help? Because if I could get someone that's green, rookie, looking for to get involved in the trades, I'm going to pick them up right away. And that's what I suggest. Any kids, like, hey, contact local plumbers saying, I'm looking to get into trades. I want to see what this is about. And it's not someone bent over a sink with their butt crack hanging out anymore, or plunging toilets or whatever. Like, it's a technical trade. Viega, you guys design systems for people, whether it's water, gas, or whatever else. If I have a project, I could count on Viega to do that. Like, it's pretty cool to see the progression of the trades.
Well, and that's what's exciting too about Press Technology. And I know you and I have talked about this before, but I think it gets kids excited about innovative technology. I know maybe some old school, plumbers out there, they want to do it the old school way. And, you and I have talked about that. We kind of, not that we're trolling online, but we see those guys.
Maybe a little bit.
Or something. Yeah. Where they're just crapping all over press. And it's, it's just one of those things where, so what do you say to those people out there that when it comes to press technology, that they're saying that it takes the skill out of a trade, right?
I mean, normally I, ask them if they rode their Velociraptor or dinosaur to work, because like with anything, if it's going to stick around, there's going to be progression. And personally, I like to do cool stuff. I like to rock climb. I don't like to be fully married to my work. And I want, when it actually comes to a pipe connection, it to be reliable, safe, great for the customer, and to save me time, because time is money. And I explain that to every contractor that I see. My uncle got my father turned on to ProPress when we were piping a car wash in Massachusetts, probably a decade plus ago. And after that, I'm like, this is great. You don't need to pull a fire permit for brazing, for soldering, if you're going to be in public space. And I don't know. I ProPress or PureFlow or MegaPress any joint that I possibly can. So that's my way of doing things. I know there's other ways of doing it. And as we've talked about before, joint connections are not what is, it takes skill to have a proper joint connection, but that doesn't define skill for a plumber, especially in, every aspect of it. Like, a solid joint connection is great if you could solder, if you could weld. I learned how to solder when I was 11 years old. But, there's a lot more to plumbing than just joint connecting.
You're absolutely right. And I love that answer because, one of the plumbers on here, let me see, go back, Hills Country Plumbing, say, hey, it's great stuff, but you got to learn everything. And I absolutely agree. And when we train trade school kids, even at Viega, when we could, and just like you said, speaking engagements, everything with COVID, I mean, heck, I'm in my basement right now, in my studio, right? So I can't even be at our state-of-the-art seminar center right now with everything shut down, where we would actually bring in trade school kids from all over New England, and we would actually teach them the proper way to solder. We would teach them how to braze. We'd teach them how to thread, but then we'd also show them ProPress and MegaPress. We showed them the proper way to do all those joining methods, because you absolutely need to know all of them. But like you said, it doesn't define a plumber, right? You need to know why you're doing the things that you're doing, why you're going from point A to point B, and how the systems work all around. Everything plumbing, not just a solder connection, a threaded connection. You need to know every single joining method, and you need to know the reason why you're doing the things you're doing. So I think it's really cool that, you're out there doing those speaking engagements, getting kids interested in the trades, because as you said, every 5 people that are leaving, one person's coming in. and the other thing is, I don't think they realize the avenues that are out there, right? Of
The,
like you said, it's not just unclogging a toilet. That is one little aspect, right? And you can make
yeah,
some good money doing that. Like you said, I know you said you don't
absolutely.
touch drain cleaning, right? It's too messy, but
I actually bought my first snake in a long time
nice.
yesterday.
Oh, really?
I'm doing a little project in Deer Valley for A-lister celebrity, which is kind of cool, and the tile contractor set the pan and the drain was clogged, and I'm like, man, I am actually going to go buy a snake right now. It's like kind of a rite of passage for me. 15 years into my licensed plumbing career that it's time to get a nice snake, and so I did it. Not my proudest moment, but yeah, the trade is a lot more than doing the rooting work, and rooting work is even very technical, with cameras
Yeah.
involved and everything else. And I have my contractors in Utah that I talk to when I need some rooting work done, and those guys are super pro, and it's nothing I want to get involved in, but actually, like, my specialty that I want to do is full remodels for kitchen and bathroom. It's I love aesthetics. I love everything from the full design build. I want to be able to give a customer a 3D walkthrough of their space, and then within a couple of weeks, they could have that render in front of them, their dream kitchen and bathroom. I love the aesthetics of it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, actually,
Mhm.
right
Yeah.
before I came to Viega, and that's the thing too. Like, one thing being in the trades and being a
Mhm.
licensed master plumber, I didn't really think about working for a manufacturer until it was kind of
Mhm.
presented to me. So,
Yep.
actually, right before coming to Viga, I worked for a small mom and pop shop, and that's what they specialized in. And when I
Mhm.
started specializing, it was fun. We would do custom kitchens, custom bathrooms,
Mhm.
remodels, everything
Yeah.
like that. And from tearing it out, gutting it out, to rebuilding,
Mhm.
doing everything. And it was a
Yeah.
lot of fun because you're right, you get to see something
Yeah.
come together, the aesthetics of it, the looks,
Mhm.
customers are happy. And
Yeah.
that's just one little portion, right, of plumbing that you can specialize in through
Absolutely.
design.
Yeah, so I cut my teeth working in New England, mostly the greater Boston area, on like new construction products, mostly residential, some commercial. And then when I moved to Utah, I worked for a contractor that had the territory for Home Depots of Northern California, Nevada, Utah, and Idaho. And you may hear some people say, I think everybody should be a server when they grow up. I think every plumber should do a service job. It's a bit of a baptism by fire. And I learned so much so quickly going in and out of customers' homes, how to treat customers with respect and have clear communication and manage expectations, because if you want to own or run a business properly, managing expectations is one of the biggest parts of it. And
Mhm.
not only that, working in every situation imaginable, from galvanized pipe to even poured lead joints and everything else, and figuring out at 20 years old, how the hell am I going to make this work and give this person cold water or hot water before the end of the working day sometimes. And so it was pretty cool to figure that out with just a bunch of parts in the back of a box truck.
No, it's a good way to cut your teeth,
Yeah,
right? School of
yeah,
hard knocks and everything like
yeah,
that. And
yeah, for sure.
I mean, and you mentioned that too. There's so many different joining methods out there,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
but to get somebody up and running, up in the Northeast here, I'm in New Hampshire.
yeah,
There's a lot of boiler work, a lot of oil boilers, a lot of natural gas. I mean, it's just boiler nation. Like, it's just hydronic heating. Other parts of the
everywhere.
country, it seems like it's hot air, right? Forced
Yep.
air, and
Hmm.
here it's hydronic. So really, press technology. When I started falling in love with press technology, working for my last company, is when we kept doing boiler swap outs in the middle of the winter, and you got to shut down somebody's heat and rip out a boiler that just took a dump, and you
Yeah.
want to get them heat because it's -14, -28
Hmm.
outside. I
Yeah.
mean, the only way to truly do a full repipe like that and get it up and running, I mean, and do a beautiful job, and something you can step back and say
Hmm.
that's prideful. I mean, press
Yeah.
technology, I mean, really helped
Absolutely.
us there, and that's when I started falling in love with it.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, definitely. When I was learning how to gas pipe, probably, I don't know, maybe 15, 16 years old, had to carry around those big rigid tripods with the threading machines and all the tap and dies and the cans of oil that would, spill all over the van or the truck at the time. And that is just for gas piping or hydronic. And now I have that my RP340 that I roll around with, and I do everything up to 2-inch just because I don't have the jaws for bigger stuff, and most of the work I'm doing is under 2-inch anyway. And when I say 2-inch, that is PEX, that's water pipe, and that's all black steel pipe for one toolbox in one tool bag, and it's flameless. You're not worried about lighting cobwebs on fire or anybody's insulation. And so I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but I love this stuff. And if I wasn't wearing a Viega hoodie because I was sponsored by you guys snowboarding, I would still be pressing all the time. It's the best.
I'm the same way. I always joke around. I say, hey, listen, if I'm ever not with Viega anymore, I'm still pressing. I'm still using their products because it has changed the way we do things. I even have it in my own home here. I repiped my entire house in ProPress copper because I could. Cool. I just wanted to. I wanted to see it. I wanted to come down here and look at it. Yeah.
We're the product. I'm all about it. And like, not only that, so I'm running a one-man band, one-man show here in Park City, and one thing I'm quickly learning is everything's about efficiency for me to build clientele and keep the chains moving forward. So every minute or hour that I could not be on one job site, I could be doing another one. That's why all my fittings, I have inventory. That's why I have the different ways of organizing my business, my stock, and pressing, especially if I need to run by somewhere and just change a couple joints or whatever else. Like, cut something out and press it is way quicker than any other connection method. And not only that, it's way more reliable. In my experience, I have never had a service call back on a press joint. And if I'm not, I don't want to be fully quoted on this, but pressing copper is like you're actually cold forging the copper, right? So that stuff is not going anywhere.
No, absolutely. I mean, you got that metal to metal connection. It's a cold forming process. So when you press that together, that metal to metal is your mechanical strength, and that sealing on the inside is your primary sealing source. So that ProPress copper fitting from Viega has a 50-year warranty from date of installation, and that's one thing too, especially with your clientele you're getting into. When you let them know the quality of the product and that there's a 50-year warranty from the date of installation, I mean, why wouldn't you stand behind it, right? And use it.
Absolutely, yeah. I remember the PEX crimp joints that when they first came out. I remember water piping with my dad. That's how I got into plumbing. It's a family trade, and 10 years later, 15 years later, a lot of those crimp rings started to break. And the manufacturer had to pay plumbers to go in and re-pipe some of this PEX stuff. So 50-year warranty, no-brainer. And every time I run into a customer that wants to say, well, shouldn't you be soldering this? I am genuinely, I say it with conviction in my voice, this is better. And they're like, then do it, please. So that's the way I make my connection methods.
So I saw some photos, and you brought it up before. I mean, I love that you're sitting in the back of your truck with a couple tool bags saying, I can do everything from my 1/2 to 2-inch copper, my 1/2 to 2-inch PEX, my 1/2 to 2-inch, steel piping, all with one tooling platform, swap some jaws, these two bags. So you're not sitting here carrying everything in, wheeling stuff in like we used to back in the day with buckets and everything, and busting your back. But the other thing, do you see yourself, because you're running into these remodels, you got to tie into some stuff. Do you see yourself doing a lot of like what I call hybrid work, where you still might be doing some pressing with some threading, or might be doing some, you might have to solder and then transition, or, you seen that in your type of surface work?
Absolutely. And it ranges from, for example, job I'm at right now, very high-end customer paying for these high-end shower components, and they just hand me the fixture and I will solder my connection in, or maybe do a male adapter into a shower valve, and then after that make sure it's hung properly, run it in my PEX or my copper, just depending on the situation. And that actually is happening right now. This particular client has 1-inch copper feeding all of their bathrooms, which I think is great to have that amount of water pressure. But I would pull off that, my Pro Press, and then order my PEX for the particular fixture I'm running to. So all the time. And especially in Utah, there is quite a bit of galvanized steel for the water pipe. And providing the galvanized steel is not compromised, I am usually making some type of hydronic connection with the galvanized for the water pipe. So the Mega Press does, the Mega Press jaws come in handy here, even for water pipe sometimes if I'm in a tight spot and don't want to risk spinning galvanized water pipe. I don't know if you have any experience with that. But I've been at jobs in my 20s where I would be spinning one joint on a ceiling and then about 15 or 18 running length of pipe away, I would see a leak, because if that stuff is even rotted in one section of the pipe, any torque on it will screw it up big time. So the press technology helps me avoid situations like that.
No, that's a perfect example why Mega Press is so great, because I'll teach some mechanical contractors, some plumbers, pipe fitters, and let them know that the thing with Mega Press is just that. I'm not loosening or tightening or over tightening or loosening another joint. I don't have to work in sequential flow with Mega Press. I can actually start in the middle, work my way backwards, meet in the middle somewhere else, because I'm not worried about tightening or loosening those joints. So it does come in handy. I just cut that black steel pipe.
Absolutely,
or cut the steel pipe with a bandsaw or something like that, and just now I can run and make those connections.
And like my bro tip to other people, especially if I'm like in a spot where I don't have a bandsaw, I'm using a sawzall, tying like 1.5 inch gas line in, rather than breaking unions and unspinning joints. And you could do something that used to take 10 hours and an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on the situation. I always travel with the file on me, make sure those edges of the gas pipe don't have any burrs on them. And I think the main reason I do that is the first easy connections were the push to connect ones. And all the time, if there was a burred edge, those things would blow up. But that's always stuck in my brain. If I'm pressing anything, just make sure the gas pipe doesn't have any burred edges. And I do my Mega Press connection, or if it's a hydronic situation, same thing. And it's kind of like, once you do those first connections, you're never going to go back to threading. Like, you'll be like, oh wow, why am I hating on this for so long? This is way better than anything else. So
I will say the same thing. When Mega Press came out, I was like, oh my god, like hey, listen, there's probably some guys, some trades men and women on here that are like, I love threading, and I've met them, like they're an animal, right? They're on that threader. But I'm with you. I actually enjoyed soldering. It was just something I could, I could put some earphones on or something, listen to music, and I could just solder away. And it was almost like kind of like a welder. I used to do welding too. It's almost like you're kind of just, zoning out and just enjoying your work, right? You're not really caring about what's going on, right? You're just kind of, But really with threading, I'm just like, it was dirty, a pain. Like you said, you lug around the heavy equipment. So Mega Press came out, I was like, I got a bandsaw, I got a bag with a press platform and some jaws, and I could do this entire job. I'm in. I'm sold. Like Mega Press, slam dunk. Pro Press, I understood why it took some of us contractors so long to kind of adapt to Pro Press, because nobody was really, hating soldering. But like you said, hot work, right? A lot of places are changing right now. I know in Massachusetts, like you said, where you're from, they do hot work certification classes now, and you got to get hot work certified in order to pull burn permits. And then you're gonna have that burn permit on the job. Then you're gonna have fire watch, and they're doing that now, not just for commercials. Because some individuals be like, "Oh, that was only commercial work. I'm a residential guy." I'm like, "Oh, it's coming for residential too." So no matter what you're doing in somebody's home or any building, you're popping a torch. You got to get a hot work certified, pull a burn permit, and it's just like you said, time is money. You're a one-man shop. I don't want to say no. I'm just starting out. I don't want to say no to a job because I can't make it because I'm using another technology that's not as efficient. So I want to be as efficient as possible, get this job done reliable, good, good quality work that's reliable, and the customer's going to be happy. But then I can move on. I can do more jobs in a day. I can satisfy more customers in a day. And then hopefully that word of mouth grows, that not only did you do a badass job, a quality job, but you were in and out, right? The customer appreciates that efficiency.
Yeah, they do, and that's one of the biggest deals here, because let's say here, I'm very familiar with the Utah market. Every contractor is buried. I'm even trying to call an electrician to help me out with one of my jobs, and it took me about 18 contractors to finally get someone to come out. And it's the same thing in plumbing. Like, if you could be from one client to the next, you're gonna keep food on the table, keep your lights on, and plumbing pays very well. If when I talk to some of the trade schools, obviously it's different around the country, but last number I checked in Boston, a union plumber starts at $120 an hour. Granted, you're not seeing that in the envelope, but I mean, you're talking master, you're talking postgraduate degree salaries to, be an essential worker right now.
Well, and that's just it. I mean,
Yeah.
you're an essential worker right now. During COVID, I mean, when it first hit down in March, maybe some big projects shut down for a month, right? Or maybe two.
Yeah.
But things didn't shut down for long for plumbers and HVAC technicians, like anybody in the mechanical trades, right? I mean, they had to go back to work. People's plumbing's breaking no matter what, residential, commercial, plazas, whatever. I mean, Home Depots are open, Lowe's are open, buildings are open. Every building that you drive by has plumbing in it. So just think about that, right? So these kids, you think about that. I don't have to go to school. And like you said, some, I'm going to do the same thing with my kids. I don't have to worry about it yet. They're only 1 and 3. But when they're old enough, it's like, I'm not going to push them towards the trades. I'm not going to push them towards college. I want them to make a good decision, but let them know that if you're not sure and you're just going to go get some sort of liberal arts degree, or I don't know, some degree that just a political science degree, unless you're going to be teach it. You know what I mean? Like, degrees, the trades, you can literally make your salary, like you just said, and everywhere is different across the country. But in the trades, you can make as much as somebody with a doctorate.
Absolutely. I mean, like, granted, maybe if you are a lawyer, you could charge your $350 an hour. But if you own your own plumbing company, you are probably going to be making the equivalent salary of that if you're doing it right. And when I was growing up, there was this weird gap, I think, in the generations of plumbers. So I would go to my continuing education, and you're in New England, I'm sure you see it too. Like, right around our age, 35 years old, there is this gap until you hit a lot of these boomers that are, in their 60s wanting to get out of the trade, but you don't see a whole lot of Gen X in there. And it's interesting to me because being kind of the early millennial generation myself, like, you're getting into this trade, and like, it's like Instagram's our new bling now. And so, like, people are showing blue collar biceps. Shout out if he's watching. People that are saying, like, hey, check out what I did. I'm proud of my work. It looks aesthetically great. And you're going to build this rep. And sorry, I'm rambling a little bit here, but when I spoke to the trade schools at Clark County High School, you didn't have kids saying, hey, I want to be an actor or a baseball player or whatever else. You had these kids saying, I want to run my own business. And a lot of these kids were like, do I go plumbing? Do I go HVAC? Do I go general contracting? And I'm talking to 16-year-olds here that's what they're thinking. And it's kind of incredible for me to see. So I think that this whole new generation of guys coming up using social media to showcase their work, it's putting a lot more pride into the trades than ever was before, because you're going to show off your work. And if you're going to do that, you're going to make sure you're doing a damn good job.
Well, because right there, you're going to have a lot of critics. If you post something, somebody's going to troll it no matter what. Even if it's, in your eyes, almost perfect. Somebody's going to crap. I mean, that's what we do, right? We bust on each other out in the field, and that's fun. That's the trades, right? It's like, the trade school is almost like college where you're hazing people. It's just fun. But what's really great about this community, and I love that you bring it up, and I actually didn't really start kind of getting involved with the Instagram community until COVID. Like, I had it like a year prior, and I just dabbled, and I was hardly on there. But then when COVID hit and we had to close things down and engage with customers and keep engaging and answering questions and helping them with technical stuff, like, this community it's still great. I mean, it's awesome. I love it. I mean, I just want to hang out on Instagram all day because I constantly have, the Instagram community in the plumbing and heating world here reaching out to me every single day about applications, jobs. They'll FaceTime me. I mean, the other day, I just had Big Dog Plumbing, FaceTime me. He's on a job site. We're talking, we're talking about a job. And that's what's so great. And everybody on here is so awesome. They're willing to help. ask questions, help each other out. I could go to somebody myself, if I didn't have the answer. And that's what's great, because I think the kids that are coming into it are going to see that, and they're going to start using TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, show off their work. They're going to be proud of it. They're going to get that engagement, that interaction with other people around the world that are in the plumbing and heating industry, and it's just so cool. And I think it's going to bring a new era, a new image, a new, kind of get rid of that old stigma. It's going to bring a new, better picture to the plumbing world, which is so exciting.
Absolutely. And I could tell you now that, like, even with that, all of my help that I, hire occasionally in Park City are 20-year-old kids, and a lot of females too, that just have a good eye, someone I can trust, and has good hands, someone that you could say, I'm just trying to make a connection from here to here, and I like to let people figure it out a little bit by here. Is that you? When I have like
that was me.
Okay, when I have a 24-year-old girl that's running gas pipe connections, putting it on her Instagram, saying, "Hey, check out what I helped do today," when that's my apprentice, it makes me feel good to be able to share that story too.
No, that's awesome, and you're right. I think, we should start, preaching this stuff in elementary school, middle schools, getting everybody and fixing the gender gap in the trades, because you're right. I've met a lot of females in this industry, and their attention to detail, hard work, their work ethic. It was just amazing. And I think that's something that you'll see in the future, where more women get in the trades, that are going to start running companies, running businesses, doing those designs, doing those layouts. It's awesome, and I just love everything that we're doing. Somebody had a question here. Sorry. How did you get started in the Olympic world, and how did you get started into snowboarding?
So press into the trades and Dave the trainer. I guess I'll try to answer both those questions a little chronologically. I grew up in New England, and a suburb of Boston type of family, which I guess typical for that area. It was like the big three, big four sports that I was playing growing up, and my parents were cool enough to push me into everything from karate to like ice hockey or baseball or basketball, football, whatever it may be. And when I was a kid, I think it was like 97, 96, maybe 12 years old, 11 years old, Exxon had a promotion where put some gas in your rig and then you get free snowboard lessons. And my parents had that for Attitash Bear Peak in New Hampshire. And they brought my brother and myself up there and dumped us into some snowboard lessons. And I quickly kind of fell in love with the speed of it, and was always competitive growing up, and just naturally thought it was cool to compete. Then I started doing well, but I guess I really wasn't making these connections like, hey, I'm going to be a pro snowboarder. But 14 years old, I qualified for a national event, and I podiumed out in California. I think it was 2000 was the year, somewhere around there, which qualified me to go to an event called the Junior World Snowboard Championships. And at this point, I didn't even know this existed, but I knew that the guys I was competing against, snowboarding was part of their high school curriculum. That was not part of my curriculum. And was able to hold my own. I'll kind of wrap up the boring part of the story, but fast forward to after I got my plumber's license, I decided to chase some snow out in Utah after I was like, college isn't for me. I'm a licensed plumber. I'm not just a normal ski bum. I'm going to go to Utah and pursue snowboarding. Within the first year, I made the U.S. snowboard team. That was 2005. Then I made the U.S. snowboard team, and I started competing internationally, the winter of 05, 06, and have been doing it since. And so now that I'm approaching the twilight of my career, I made one Olympics, the 2018 Games, and basically, to answer anybody's question there, I see one of my friends. Are you the only licensed plumber Olympian? Sarah, I don't know. There might be a loser out there that may be a licensed plumber and an Olympian. But anyway, I made the Olympic team in 2018, and the way that pro snowboarding works for my discipline, which is snowboard cross, and if you could imagine six dudes racing down a track with bumps, jumps, turns. It's almost like motocross racing, but on snowboards. It's very awesome. It's so fun. We have our pro tour, and it's called World Cup, and it's just like how, it's like our NFL, but for snowboarders. And you have the most elite snowboarders in the world racing these events every year. And during Olympic years, each country's allowed to send 4 athletes per gender to the Olympics. My years have tended to peak in between games, but I podiumed in 2017 in September in Argentina, was the first guy to qualify for my team. That's how I got into the Olympics and snowboarding. I hope that kind of wraps that up. And looking at a couple other questions. What's my favorite resort? Favorite mountain? I guess favorite mountain's a little different than resort. I actually was living in Austria for 8 years
Wow, nice.
of my adult life, and I love powder. I'm not gonna lie here. I mean, like, snowboard cross is great. I love training with those guys and rubbing elbows and, occasionally crashing into a fence going 50 miles an hour. But powder is my favorite. And the cool part about the Alps, to anyone that's ever been there, is the lift access terrain is insane. So I guess for comparison, like being in the backcountry ton in Utah, which is out of bounds skiing and snowboarding, it's access where I'm snowmobiling into a place and climbing a mountain, or touring, which I take my snowboard, split it in half, turn it into skis, and I walk up a mountain. That's a full day for 3 runs, maybe 2 runs. But in Austria, just the access is so much easier that I get 10 runs of the terrain that I would be walking 2 hours for over here. And so the Alps is probably my favorite place to be. Other on-piste places, if you guys are going to check out some snowboard tourism destinations, anywhere in Japan is insane. Ton of snow. Nobody skis in the trees over there. It's the best. And Russia, Sochi, where the 2014 games were, has hands down the best lift access terrain I've ever experienced in my life. It's just Russian, so there's a little bit of weird, I don't know, it's non-traditional ways of managing the place goes. For example, in America or Europe, when there's avalanche control, you'll have ski patrollers shut down a run and then use some dynamite to create an avalanche so that wouldn't slide later. Or there's these giant air cannons with some infrastructure hooked up where they'll shoot high pressure air to create an avalanche. In Russia, I have seen backhoes creeping on ridge lines with their buckets just knocking off avalanches. To me, I mean, seems gnarly. I don't know if I'd want to have that type of operating job, but that's how they do it in Russia. So
they're really they rely on their skills, I guess, of operating that backhoe.
Absolutely, right? For sure, yeah.
I got
dirtiest plumbing job. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No. What's the dirtiest plumbing job you've done?
There was for the New England plumbers, the Boston guys. I was cleaning a grease trap at a restaurant in the North End, and it was lunchtime. It wasn't that crowded, and it was my first grease trap I ever got into. I asked my father, I'm like, so how do I do this? He goes, you put them together, just do the opposite. I'm like, that's how he taught me the trades, was just tie this in, and if I did a bad job, he'd rip it out and explain to me how to do it all over again. I always thought he was kind of an asshole for doing that, but it's how I learned. So anyway, grease trap, I take it apart, and he told me it was going to smell terrible, but it smelled like whatever the chef was cooking, like filet. And I had a little spade, and I started like scooping out what was ever in the grease trap. And after I got like under that first inch or two of fat, it just smelled like rotting flesh. And I remember the chef, and then the restaurant cleared out, and I was like, I still have to finish this job. And that morning, I remember going to the supply house to grab something, and one of the guys I'd see at the supply house asked me what I was doing that day, and I said some service work on a grease trap, and his exact words were, "Does your dad hate you?" And so that's That was the dirtiest job I ever remember doing.
That's awesome. I'm only laughing
Yeah.
because I've been there. Coming from New
Yeah, man.
England, I did,
Yeah.
I did start, as a residential plumber and then start getting into drain cleaning.
Yeah.
And I'm laughing because I know exactly what that smells like, and you have to have a strong stomach. I've
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've actually been drenched in raw
Oh,
sewage from head to toe, so I've been there, and
nice.
that's maybe what steered me to go be more of a pipe fitter plumber and get into more commercial industrial work and boiler work and things like
Yeah.
that. But it definitely made me, I guess, earn my stripes, I think, as a plumber in
For
that
for
aspect.
for sure, and I think every part of the trades you have those guys that are going to tell you what earning your stripes is and how to earn them. I know contractors that would, make their apprentice hand thread joints that are in a ceiling on a ladder. Just to say, like, this is how I learned how to do it. And this is how you're going to learn how to do it, especially if you run into a problem that you have to diagnose and fix that, maybe that is required. Uh, but I guess that was kind of me earning my stripes too, was that service restaurant work. Dave the trainer fell in a sewage ejection pit. That's a bummer.
Oh
Yeah.
man, somebody should have
Yeah.
been tying you off, bro. That's awful. Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the first time I had to replace a sewage ejector too, and getting into those cesspools. I was doing a restaurant in Middleton, Massachusetts, and I was replacing all the waste pipe. And it was old cast iron, and I cut something off with a Sawzall, and of course some of the hangers broke down the line, and whatever was in a 30-run length of pipe, 2-inch cast iron, on this restaurant that was probably abandoned for over a year, I ended up wearing. And my father was like, I could get up there if you want. I'm like, well, I'm already covered in this. I might as well finish the job off, because no use in both of us smelling like this. So, can I make a
And if,
press connection while competing in snowboard cross? Oh, all right, Mom.
That'll be on the next Tech Talk next week on Tech Talk Live. Thanks, Molly.
Yeah,
She's gonna sign us up for that competition. Absolutely. And Becca
yeah.
actually asked if I snowboard as well. I haven't hit the slopes on anything in years. I'm a way better skier than I am snowboarder.
Hmm.
Um, I've always been that type of kid or type of guy who just dabbles in a lot of different things and never had that one passion. And I think that's where the trades kind of helped me
Yeah. Hmm.
find something, because I love working with my hands. I find that I'm always, happier and more at peace when I'm working with my hands. And I didn't know what I want to do. So yeah, I've dabbled in skiing, snowboarding. I love racing cars, like working on cars,
Cool.
painting cars. Like there's a
Hmm.
bunch of different hobbies I love getting into, but snowboarding, I wasn't that great at it. I'll tell you that. It was fun though. I love, in New England, going up there and just trying, and just doing it. It's always good, but I'm way better on skis. So if I could compete with you a press challenge on skis and you're on your snowboard, maybe we can talk.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You got to get out to Utah, and then you could go skiing. I could go snowboarding. Can show you the local spots, or maybe you could just want to rip around on your snow machine or my snow machine, drop
There
me
we
off the
go.
top of a hill. Yeah. The way I approached everything in my life, I guess, is um, whether it is plumbing or snowboarding, is I kind of use a big chunk of my bandwidth for a particular, whether it's a recreational activity or business or whatever it may be, and get very focused. And so snowboarding, just kind of like all out on it. And there was times in my snowboard career where I'd be playing baseball all summer. I even played for a professional team in Austria. Um, I
Nice.
would say, it's, as I bragged to our listeners, it was about high school level. So I don't want to make myself sound too cool here, but it was it was fun. And right now, it's my recreational activities, rock climbing in the summer. I love mountaineering in the winter, and it's a lot easier to learn how to do all the ropes and climbing techniques when it's hot outside, rather than wet and cold, or rescuing someone in a crevasse or glacier, whatever it may be. So that's my side activity right now. Last year it was working on motorcycles. I should show you my garage. I just have 3 motorcycles. One's in pieces, one and a half is in pieces. So
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's that kind of anything with an engine. That's what I love. My 1 year old son right now is so awesome. Like anything with an engine, he's all
Yeah.
about. So we're out there ripping
Nice.
up on the quad. He wants to ride the tractor, whatever it
Dope.
is. So
Cool.
I know that's what we're going to be doing is loading this garage up with toys as well.
Yeah.
Now I want to go back to that traveling because I don't know if I'm the only geek or maybe some of our viewers are the same way as me, but you're a plumber at heart, right? Your passion
Yeah.
may be in snowboarding, but when you're traveling around, do you find yourself staring at all the different plumbing out there? And have you had a chance to plumb anywhere other than in the States?
Yes, I have actually, and some things I found interesting in Europe is with a lot of the new plumbing, they're using uh, empirical system. They'll measure in inches for pipe width in some places. Yeah, I'm always eyeballing the plumbing. And uh, do you pick up any plumbing gigs in Austria? If I'm picking up plumbing gigs in Austria, it's for friends or family that are out there, and usually small service things rather than dealing in the language that I don't know at a supply house. It's a little weird, but all the time I'm eyeballing plumbing. And not to mention, I was doing some filming with Grohe, who's a German-based company,
Hmm.
and I had the opportunity to talk to some union plumbers in Germany. And what I learned out there is most countries in the European Union require 100% of their potable water to be circulating at all times because they found out that the water is just cleaner and healthier that way. And it's interesting to me that these civilizations that have been around for over a millennium. The building I was living in Austria was the newest building on the street. It was built in like the early 1800s. All of these buildings have recirc pumps on all their cold water lines, and so remodeling places that the foundations of literally sitting on the Roman Empire, they are having recirc lines and all their plumbing. So yeah, I look at this stuff all the time, no matter where I am. And I have friends that own hotels in Europe. It wouldn't be the same as owning one in America, more like a bed and breakfast. These guys are having me look
Hmm.
at their plumbing and their finish work, and do I think this looks great, or how would an American audience or a tourist like their bathrooms, things like that. What different plumbing codes and installs? How are different? Okay, how different are plumbing codes and installs in foreign locations? I mean, developing world. I was on a small surf trip in Chile in between a snowboard event. Wood-fired water heaters. So you have the infrastructure there for water pressure, but a wood-fired water heater, and it's a little bit of playing with your, I guess your mixing valve to see if you're going to scald yourself or not. It's a little weird, and on-demand hot water is pretty big. I spent time down there, and um, was essential for some of these locations. And so technology isn't quite as, depending on the location, obviously. Technology is a lot of times in the developing world just to make sure something works and is providing the consumer with what they need. Whereas America and especially the European Union have very strict laws on potable water or how someone's getting their heat. Biofuel burners are a big one in Austria. I don't know if you've ever seen those. Like, New Hampshire has a lot of propane, but you have these rooms dedicated in these houses in the countryside in Austria where it'll be biofuel and wood chips that are massive. So imagine your boiler being fed by wood chips and biofuel. You're taking up 5 times the space of for your heating system than you would for even an oil burner or something like that. It's incredible.
Well, and I think when you look at other
Mm-hmm.
countries as well, and especially over in Europe, I mean, you think about the technologies that
Yep.
they've had for years
Mm-hmm.
and things that they're developing. And I personally feel that the States is very slow to adapt newer and better technologies when it comes to the plumbing and heating industry. They take
Mm-hmm.
time to, even
Yep.
even somebody when the codes, when they rewrite codes every 3 years, a state might still be on something that was 2009, and we're in 2020, right?
Absolutely.
I feel a lot of things that we do in the States, as great as this country is, the plumbing part of it, I feel we are way behind other countries.
I do too. But I think one thing about the states, which is definitely a little different than the European Union, is each state has its own plumbing code, whether they do adopt the international plumbing code or have their own state code or somewhere in between where they amend it. A lot of it's based on the geography. So California is a huge one where a lot of things have to be waterless flushing, and then you have to figure out how that system works. Or New England has plenty of water. In Utah, where I am, we have elevation to work with. So a lot of the flue sizes will just increase from year to year. And gray water is another big one. How are we going to have something sustainable for gray water? New houses, you have to have more makeup air coming in for your furnace, for your water heater, because everything is sealed now. And it does have its pros and cons. Like as a consumer, someone may think, wow, I'm saving a ton of money, ton of energy, because there's no drafts in my home, but you need to make sure your furnace and your water heater are firing correctly. So I think a lot of the technology does depend on the state. Some states, I don't want to say anything without knowledge, maybe run by some people that have been in the same job for decades, that are more concerned with keeping their union guys working, which there's definitely a place for that. Everyone needs work. However, inviting technology in, especially Viega, I know in certain states it was a slow process to be able to mega press bigger fittings. In Europe, there just seems to be less resistance, because I think quality of life is a big thing there. And my quality of life is increased when I'm pressing fittings rather than spinning them on with a wrench. And there's less chance of human error. It's going to be a better connection, faster, more reliable, and get the customer getting what they need.
Well, and like American Standard, you said you used to work with them. American Standard, right? That old slogan in the 30s, right? The plumber protects the health of a nation.
Absolutely.
So codes and standards, I 100% believe in them, and they need to be there. And what's really cool is you see these manufacturers actually working with all of them. Oh, T-minus 3 minutes, Troy. Thanks, Dave the trainer. I don't have a timer or a watch, so if we get cut off, I feel like I could talk to you for 5
absolutely.
hours,
Me
man.
too.
So,
Yeah.
I feel like we're keeping everybody's attention. So this is great. So thank you, David, for letting us know, because apparently Instagram will kick us off in that 1 hour mark. So, but yeah, I mean, you got Viega, you have all these different manufacturers that work with the codes and standards to help develop better ways to do things that are more efficient, that are more safer, right? We talk about all the time about the safety of press technology. So when you're looking at the codes and standards, it's just rewriting these codes, and not to sell a product. It's rewriting codes, again, to make them strong, to make them safe, but adapt from, the 1980s, right? The 1970s, adapt, evolve, overcome, add this new technology, let's see, we got private plumber. I'm an old school, I sweat and press. Is cool when water doesn't shut off. Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those lifesavers right there. So, hey, man, I got the counter yelling at me right now. We got 1:53 left. I just want to say thank you very much for joining tonight with me. This was really cool. I gave Bo the night off. You can kick back and drink. I hope he was watching. I think I saw him pipe in every now and then. I think he still looked, even though he was on vacation or whatever, taking the night off. But
cool.
But this was really great, man. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again if it works out too.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to catch up more on the jobs that you're working with.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can see more jobs with the press technology that you're working with, see how your business is coming along, and then see how your snowboarding career is coming along as well. So for everybody watching, next month, tune in. It's going to be at 12 p.m. Central. I forget the date off the top of my head. I should have wrote it down. But if all the viewers out there, if you need anything, get a hold of us at Viega LLC right here on Instagram. And then if you have any ideas or you want to see another guest like Jonathan on our show, hit us up at techtalk@viega.us. Shoot us an email. So we're good. Thank you so much. Thanks, you, Jonathan. Troy. I appreciate you, brother. I'll talk to you soon. I can't wait to get out to see you.
All right. Take care. See you.
Thanks. Care. See ya.
Bye.